We begin with breaking news. President Trump filing 2 lawsuits as the presidential race remains too close to call. I'm Chris Pisano.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Jordan Jagalenzer. One suit has been filed in Michigan, the other in Pennsylvania, both posing challenges to mail-in ballots. Right now, these are the states the Associated Press is calling so far the red for President Trump, blue for Joe Biden.
Western Mass News correspondent Michael George has more.
Certain legal fight. President Trump's campaign says it will immediately ask for a recount in Wisconsin, as CBS News projects former Vice President Joe Biden narrowly winning the state.
Our municipal and county clerks have worked tirelessly throughout the night to make sure that every valid ballot has been counted and reported accurately.
Biden is also slightly ahead in Michigan.
By the end of the day, the majority of our ballots will be tabulated and will be much closer to having a full, if not a full and complete unofficial result to announce at that point.
In Pennsylvania, more than 1 million mail-in ballots still have to be counted. Officials say it could take days before the winner is known.
We'll be done as soon as we're done. We want to make sure that every vote that is legitimately cast and is good.
Aides to the former vice president say they see a clear path for him to get to 270 electoral college votes. But President Trump continues to undermine confidence in the integrity of the election. The president tweeted this afternoon they are working hard to make up 500,000 vote advantage in Pennsylvania disappear ASAP. Likewise, Michigan and others. Overnight, he called the counting process a fraud and claimed victory.
This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
The president said he'll take his vote count fight to the Supreme Court. The Biden camp responded its legal teams are ready. Michael George, CBS News, Wilmington, Delaware.
We continue our team coverage now with how those on the local and state level are reacting against President Trump's criticism of mail-in ballots.
Western Mass News reporter Audrey Russo joins us live in Northampton with more. Audrey?
So happening behind me right now appears to be a police brutality protest in front of City Hall. This seems to be unrelated to a 5 p.m. protest that's set to happen here as well, where activists are going to denounce the president's suggestions that there has been voter fraud in battleground states. They will echo calls from local and state leaders to make sure that every mail-in ballot is counted.
Mail-in balloting worked. They think that every vote needs to be counted. It's essential.
Congressman Richard Neal standing by the mail-in ballot system, which was expanded greatly to prevent the spread of COVID-19 at Election Day polls. As those are counted in battleground states, President Trump has filed a lawsuit in Michigan to halt the vote count, which could leave the decision to the Supreme Court. The bench now has 3 appointments from President Trump, but Neal hopes that won't sway any potential rulings.
It's not healthy for democracy to suggest that because you appointed 3 justices as members of the Supreme Court that you can count on their vote.
Governor Charlie Baker and Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito also releasing a statement on the ballot counting process, suggesting it should not be halted. They said in part, quote, "Every American, regardless of political affiliation, especially the president and every candidate on the ballot, should be united in supporting this process." The Secretary of the Commonwealth, William Galvin, offering the most stinging criticism of all.
The idea that we're simply not going to count them because I'm ahead and therefore stop counting is absurd. It's, as I said, it's beyond belief. The results of that.
Coming up on Western Mass News at 6, we'll hear from a political science professor as he reacts to the feasibility of the president's threats to take the election results to the Supreme Court. We'll also continue to monitor the situation here in Northampton. But for now, I'm reporting live. Audrey Russo for Western Mass News.
Audrey, thank you for that live report. Between the pandemic and the election, gun sales are surging across the country. With less than 2 months left in the year, sales are already more than the record set in 2016. And the holiday season is typically the busiest time for gun sales. So far, more than 17 million background checks have been completed nationwide. And coming up tonight at 6, we hear from one local gun shop owner who's seeing a rise in sales and is having trouble keeping up with all the demand.
We're following developing news now out of Springfield, where cars are being pulled out of Watershot Pond as we speak. This is part of a planned draining of the pond.
Western Mass News reporter Sarah Granelli joins us now live with what's happening. Sarah.
Chris, Jordan, this is definitely something you don't see every day. We've been watching cars being hoisted out of the pond from these cables right here. Now, we're told about 7 cars and a gun have been discovered since the water was drained here. But take a look at this. Western Mass News getting a look at the cars sitting in the pond before some of them were pulled out, being hoisted out of the water. The Springfield Police Department says they'll be checking to see if the cars discovered in the water were stolen. We also just saw moments ago an officer pulling a license plate off of one of the cars that was found in the pond. They will also be investigating the gun that was found. Now, this is a big undertaking. The city is going to finish draining the water and then fix the dam. It's to prevent the dam from failing or flooding from a big storm. Now, back out here live again, you can see they're working to bring out another car. Now, the drawdown will be completed by Saturday, but this entire project will take about 2 years. Live in Springfield, I'm Sarah Granelli for Western Mass News.
Wow, Sarah, thanks for that live report. Crews were called to a water main break in Chicopee this morning. Chicopee police say the city's water department responded to 645 Shawnigan Drive near former Salter College around 9 this morning. Crews were on scene most of the day repairing the break. They say the area was cleared around 1:30 this afternoon.
A beautiful day out there today with plenty of sunshine. Temperatures here in Springfield are up to 60 degrees at this hour. So we did get a little bit warmer than expected, and that's partly due to that breeze coming in out of the south-southwest, something that's going to continue and get even a bit more intense as we head into Thursday. So expect more warm temperatures on the horizon. Looking at some currents, up to 60 in Westfield and Springfield, but it is cooler the farther north you go. Cummington's at 52, Orange at 55, so is Holyoke. Pittsfield checking in right now at 57 degrees. And we have had a healthy breeze throughout the day, but wind again more southerly today, which is why we started seeing those temperatures get a little bit warmer. Now, we'll keep a light breeze overnight, so we shouldn't get below freezing in most locations, even with the clear sky and the very dry air in place. But that southerly breeze also brings the dew points up a little bit too. And you can see temperatures just don't drop off as quickly or as dramatically as most of the time this time of year it would. Temperatures are down into the upper 40s by midnight with clear skies, and then through tomorrow morning, clear with temperatures dipping to either side of 40 degrees. As we continue into your Thursday, highs look to climb into the middle and upper 60s with a gusty breeze, and it looks like that nice weather will last into the weekend. We'll take a look at your full forecast in just a few minutes.
Jana, thank you. Still ahead here on Western Mass News on CBS 3. The NFL announcing strict restrictions for the rest of the season. Kayla Burton tells us about the big changes we can expect on game days straight ahead.
Plus, as adults across the country try and make sense of election results, we're learning the best ways to talk to your kids about the outcome.
Wilmington, Delaware, is former Vice President Joe Biden speaking right now as his campaign continues to grow a lead thanks to mail-in ballots in several key states. Let's listen in.
Here, the people rule. Power can't be taken or asserted. It flows from the people, and it's their will that determines who will be the President of the United States, and their will alone. And now, after a long night of counting, it's clear that we're winning enough states to reach 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency. I'm not here to declare that we've won, but I am here to report that when the count is finished, we believe we will be the winners. With all the votes counted, we have won Wisconsin by 20,000 votes, virtually the same margin that President Trump won that state 4 years ago. In Michigan, we lead by over 35,000 votes, and it's growing. A substantially bigger margin than President Trump won Michigan in 2016. Michigan will complete its vote soon, maybe as early as today. And I feel very good about Pennsylvania. Virtually all the remaining ballots to be counted were cast by mail. And we've been winning 78% of the votes by mail in Pennsylvania. We've flipped Arizona and the 2nd District of Nebraska. Of special significance to me is that we've won with the majority of the American people. And every indication is that that majority will grow. We have a popular vote lead of nearly 3 million votes, and every indication is that will grow as well. Indeed, Senator Harris and I are on track to win more votes than any ticket in the history of this country that ever won the presidency and vice presidency. Over 70 million votes. I'm very proud of our campaign. Only 3 presidential campaigns in the past have defeated an incumbent president. When it's finished, God willing, we'll be the 4th. This is a major achievement. This is a major achievement. And it's been a long and difficult campaign, but it's been a more difficult time for our country, a hard time. We've had hard campaigns before. We've faced hard times before. So once this election is finalized and behind us, it'll be time for us to do what we've always done as Americans, to put the harsh rhetoric of the campaign behind us, to lower the temperature, to see each other again, to listen to one another, to hear each other again, and respect and care for one another, to unite, to heal, to come together as a nation. I know this won't be easy. I'm not naive. Neither of us are. I know how deep and hard the opposing views are in our country on so many things. But I also know this as well. To make progress, we have to stop treating our opponents as enemies. We are not enemies. What brings us together as Americans is so much stronger than anything that can tear us apart. So let me be clear. We are campaigning as Democrats, but I will govern as an American president. The presidency itself is not a partisan institution. It's the one office in this nation that represents everyone. And it demands a duty of care for all Americans. And that is precisely what I will do. I will work as hard for those who didn't vote for me as I will for those who did vote for me. Now, every vote must be counted. No one's going to take our democracy away from us. Not now, not ever. America's come too far. America's fought too many battles. America's endured too much to ever let that happen. We, the people, will not be silenced. We, the people, will not be bullied. We, the people, will not surrender. My friends, I'm confident we'll emerge victorious. But this will not be my victory alone or our victory alone. It'll be a victory for the American people, for our democracy, for America. And there will be no blue states and red states when we win, just the United States of America. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.
And that was former Vice President Joe Biden there speaking, saying that power flows from the people, and also announcing he believes it's clear at this point that he will win enough electoral votes to win the presidency, though he did not yet declare himself as the winner. At this point, according to the AP, the Democrat candidate does hold a lead in the Electoral College over President Trump. We will be right back. Welcome back, everyone. COVID-19 cases spiking across the National Football League, disrupting many teams' games, keeping players off the field. The league now looking to make adjustments to try to keep everyone safe.
Western Mass News reporter Kayla Burton joins us live in studio after speaking with one NFL expert on how the season could play out. Kayla?
Chris and Jordan, more and more players are being added to the COVID-19 reserve list, and now the NFL is tightening its COVID-19 game day rules and could potentially be making changes to playoffs. The Baltimore Ravens adding now 7 defensive players to the COVID-19 reserve list, as well as the San Francisco 49ers having to close down their practice facility after wide receiver Kendrick Bourne tested positive for COVID-19. With more coronavirus scares, the NFL is now tightening game day rules, turning its protocols way up in response to this issue. The league sending a memo to all 32 teams announcing stronger mask requirements on game days, the expansion of teams' sidelines, and even enhancing intensive protocols for the teams that are hit with positive cases. But the biggest hit, the NFL mandating that all players and staff must wear masks or double-layered gaiters in the locker room on game days, plus during any pregame or postgame field interactions. Now, with talk of a potential bubble come playoff time, Western Mass News is speaking with play-by-play voice of the New England Patriots, Bob Socci, who says this investment would be challenging but could be ideal.
I do think it's a possibility, and I believe that there have been reports that the league is considering a bubble for at least the championship round, the 2 conference championship games, and the Super Bowl. And that makes a lot more sense to me because now you're talking about a much more limited period of time.
Socci goes on saying it would be a complicated process due to the number of not only players per team, but you have the equipment staff, team managers, videographers, trainers, physicians, even media people. He says financially it would be a major investment as well. Now, the league is also talking about changing playoffs coming up later on Western Mass News at 6 o'clock. I'll tell you what changes are being proposed and how this could impact the Patriots in a potentially positive, and yes, I did say positive, way. Live in studio, Kayla Burton, Western Mass News.
Well, not nearly as chilly out there today. Temperatures finally back to near normal this afternoon, and we're going to continue warming up as we head toward the weekend. Tomorrow really starts the warmer trend where we're jumping to about 10 plus degrees above average for early November, and it could last through Tuesday or even Wednesday of next week. It's also looking like the dry weather stretch is going to coincide with the warmer air too, and not a drop of rain possibly until Veterans Day. And then once we get that next system coming through, we will transition back to some cooler weather, more typical of November. Right now we're at 60 degrees, a completely clear sky. That is gorgeous from our log cabin and Skycam, not our log cabin, but looking out toward East Hampton. Gorgeous evening out there, mild with temperatures at 60. You can see there's a frontal boundary here across New England, much colder across Maine today, but they're going to be warming up shortly. Breezes are coming in out of the south, which keeps the dew points a little bit higher. It's going to keep our temperatures warmer during the day and not as chilly at night. Tonight we should all stay above freezing. We'll have some middle to upper 30s out there under a clear sky, but the light south breeze will keep us a little bit warmer than last night. Tomorrow, expecting highs to return to the middle 60s. We'll have good sunshine throughout the day and then some high clouds will start drifting in toward the afternoon and evening with a quick moving upper level disturbance. You can see temperatures reaching 60s for everywhere tomorrow. Everyone should get to at least 60, even some middle 60s possible in a few spots in the hill towns. Now, high pressure is going to continue to dominate our weather, hanging on in the upper levels and at the surface, which really brings up the temperatures into the weekend. Plus, all the storm systems are going to track to our north, so we're not expecting any wet weather. The cloud cover that will be coming in for tomorrow is just going to be cloud cover, and that's it. No rain expected or any wintry weather. As we go through Thursday evening, you can see some patchy clouds. They diminish Friday morning. Friday afternoon, we're back to sunny skies, and we should stay mostly sunny throughout the weekend. Now, Friday won't be as breezy as Thursday, so that's a good day to get some yard work done. And the weekend is looking similar. Light to calm wind, good sunshine during the day with highs warming to near 70 both days. But we do cool off nicely. Lower 40s expected both Friday night and Saturday night. And then going into Monday, more sunshine. Clouds will start to build in Tuesday with highs again close to 70. And then it does look like our next cold front's going to come in for Wednesday. At this point, Veterans Day not looking like a total washout. It looks like the rain will hold off more till the afternoon and evening. But that'll be one to watch, as I'm sure many ceremonies will be planned outdoors that day. But in the near term, just enjoy the nice weather while we've got it. Chris and Jordan, back to you.
Jana, thank you. Coming up here on Western Mass News, as we wait for election results, COVID cases continue to spike across the country. We're bringing you an update.
And another airline is introducing a flight to nowhere, but this one has special meaning. The details when we come back.
Welcome back, everyone. Tens of thousands of moms suffer from life-threatening complications related to their pregnancy and then childbirth every year.
Now, federal health officials are launching a new campaign to bring awareness and help so that more mothers survive. Western Mass News correspondent Elise Preston has more.
He's the one who noticed his mom's face was swollen.
In a powerful new PSA campaign, the Centers for Disease Control wants you to hear the stories of mothers who almost lost their lives while trying to have a baby.
Oh, you're fine. You're pregnant.
Nearly 700 mothers each year die from complications during and after pregnancy. Omari Maynard's partner is one of them. He says Shamani Gibson alerted doctors she was in pain, but she still died of a pulmonary embolism just days after an emergency C-section.
Do I feel like she was being ignored? I feel like the care could have been a lot better if they were listening to her.
Mothers are increasingly dying from infection, hemorrhaging, and preeclampsia. 2/3 of the deaths are preventable. The Hear Her campaign hopes to encourage mothers and those around them to know the warning signs.
A headache that seems severe and will not go away. Unusual swelling, of the feet.
CDC Director of Reproductive Health, Dr. Wanda Barfield, says the timing of the campaign is even more critical with the COVID-19 pandemic.
Women may be concerned that they can't be seen by a provider, but if they have a pregnancy-related complication or a significant warning sign, it's really important that they reach out.
This campaign will target cities where maternal mortality rates are the highest, including New York, St. Louis, and Atlanta.
Gibson's 2 children are now growing up without their mom.
She just loved family. She loved the community. And, she was just excited about being a mother.
Maynard hopes this campaign will prevent his nightmare from happening to other families. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
Mothers of color are disproportionately affected by pregnancy-related complications. About 20% of adults are suffering with chronic pain, and women are more likely to experience it. A new National Health Interview survey finds that about 7% of adults reported chronic pain that often limit their life or work activities. And coming up next on Western Mass News, it's a confusing time for everyone as we wait for more election results to come in. We're talking to parents and teachers about the ways that they're helping kids make sense of it all.
A new mask order is underway for Bay State residents. I'm Brissida Landaverde, breaking down everything you need to know ahead of Friday.
And we are expecting a stretch of warmer weather the last into the weekend. Your first warning forecast coming up next.
From the Massachusetts Broadcasters Station of the Year, this is Western Mass News at 4 p.m. on CBS 3.
Welcome back to Western Mass News at 4:30, everyone. I'm Jordan Jagalinzer.
And thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Pisano, and here's what's making headlines right now. As mail-in ballots continue to be counted following Tuesday's presidential election, Vice President Joe Biden picked up a key win today. The Associated Press saying the former vice president has won Wisconsin. And just a little while ago, Biden says his campaign believes they will have enough votes to win the election should the Democrat hold on to a slim lead in Michigan as well as Nevada. And that would give him enough votes in the Electoral College to win the race.
Meantime, President Donald Trump's campaign says that it has filed 2 lawsuits trying to halt the vote count in Michigan and then do the same in Pennsylvania. While the AP showed the president with a lead last night, former Vice President Joe Biden has taken a lead of more than 30,000 votes as more mail-in ballots continue to be counted. The Trump campaign says it has not been provided with meaningful access to numerous counting locations to observe the opening of ballots and the counting process as guaranteed by Michigan law. In Western Mass News is your election authority. The 2020 election has seen record turnout. The Trump campaign filing 2 lawsuits this afternoon, as we just mentioned, to stop Michigan and Pennsylvania from counting votes.
Now, the one in Michigan calls for a temporary halt until it's given meaningful access to several locations where ballots are still being counted. They also want to review ballots that have already been processed. Here to talk more about this is attorney Thomas Kennefick. Thanks for being with us, Tom. It's always good to see you.
Pleasure.
So what is the Trump campaign hoping to accomplish with the lawsuit specifically?
Well, it seems that they're seeking injunctive relief. In other words, asking the court to put a stop to the procedures that are otherwise would be continued towards, I suppose, coming to an official count on the ballot. And but to do so, they have a steep hill to climb.
What exactly is that hill then? What do they need?
Well, first of all, they've got to demonstrate a substantial likelihood of success on the merits, and that's a cornerstone for the application for any injunctive relief. And secondly, they've got to be able to demonstrate that if they don't get that relief, they would suffer imminent irreparable harm. So they've got to come into court armed with either affidavits or case law or some other piece of evidence to persuade a court that if this lawsuit has merit, and that they would not only has merit, it has a substantial likelihood of success.
And this has to be done quickly. I mean, this can't be a long, drawn-out process.
Correct. The first step would probably be they'd be seeking what the courts call across the country a temporary restraining order. And if the temporary restraining order issues because the judge would determine that there would be a reasonable or substantial likelihood of success in the merits, that the plaintiffs or the petitioners would be suffering immediate, imminent physical harm, imminent irreparable harm. If the court makes that finding, then it would schedule the matter for a hearing on a preliminary injunction, which probably would be within a fairly short period after the issuance. But again, they have a pretty steep hill to climb at this point.
And Thomas, have we seen any precedents with this type of scenario happen before, these types of lawsuits being filed following election results?
There may be, but I'm not aware of any.
All right, Thomas. Well, thank you very much for joining us today and sharing your insight. We appreciate your time.
Good to see you, Tom.
With the entire country still awaiting results from yesterday's presidential election, many children may be asking questions about what they're hearing, seeing, or reading.
Western Mass News reporter Sarah Grinelli getting answers about how teachers and parents are helping their kids to understand.
I just like that we're engaged in the conversation.
The high-profile presidential race in the news has children of all ages asking questions.
I try to research the best I can on who the best choice would be and the best decision would be. And I share it with my children, and I tell them, like, even though they live within our household, they are still entitled to their own opinions.
Western Mass News checked in with history teacher Nathan Powers. He says he's noticing more and more students being curious about the election. He says at Chicopee High School, the teachers educate their students on the origins of the voting principles, including the majority vote and the Electoral College.
We always do our best to remain as neutral as possible in terms of
which side of the fence you might lean on. Because at the end of the day, what's really important is establishing for students our voting process in this country.
Powers says he reassures his students that if they can't vote just yet, they can still make a change in the world.
For some of my upperclassmen that had just missed that date or, they weren't able to vote this time around, they have the ability to, reach out to different organizations or to make their voice heard in another way.
He's noticed many students who seem to be somewhat confused about what's going on, but no matter the outcome of the election, he says,
whoever ends up sitting in that Oval Office, whether they have a blue tie or a red tie, just realizing at the end of the day that we as the individuals, we're the only ones that can control our emotions and how we go out and treat other people and how we treat ourselves.
Sarah Gurnelli, Western Mass News.